flowers, and welcome back to Show Me Your Florals. We are on day 6 today, and it's finally time to paint watercolors from scratch on the iPad. I'm so excited. Let's have a quick look at the brushes. So today we are going to be using the IPL Blossoms brush, but then I'm also going to show you how you can use the IPL Leaf Strokes brush. These are both really fun brushes, and I hope you really enjoy using them. The flower we are going to paint today is an anemone. So let's start by creating a sketch and see roughly what this is going to look like. You can use any of the sketching brushes for this. Maybe the 6B pencil is a good choice. It's going to have 5 petals like this. And this is just a really rough sketch, just to get a bit of an idea of what you would like your petals to look like. This also makes it a little bit easier. And then maybe we make this a bit bigger. And of course now, if you're not happy with the shape of your floral, you can use the warp tool and sort of bend it in shape a little bit. This is always very handy to do that, especially at the sketching phase. But I think this looks pretty good now. So now we are going to decrease the opacity of this. This is just a little reference, so we know where we're going to paint. And then on a new layer, we're going to change the color. And of course, you can use any color that you like, that you've got in your color palette. I like this pink color. And then of course, we are going to use our IPL Blossoms brush. And now let's start painting. I recommend that you start painting at the back of your petal. And just sort of try and fill in the shape, and then as you come down, ever so slightly take the pressure of the Apple pencil to sort of pull down the water. As I'm painting this, I don't lift the Apple pencil at all. I'm just painting my shape like this. You can also go a little bit over the edge here if you like as well, until I've finished my petal. And now we're going to do the same thing until we've finished all the petals. Start at the top, and then without lifting the Apple pencil, paint in your petal. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect to start with. The only thing that you might find hard to change is the edge up here, but anything inside the flower is very easy to change, so you don't have to get this right the first time. Okay, so this is the first step done. We don't need our sketching layer anymore. So now let's switch to the smudging tool and also use the IPL Blossoms brush. So now we can smudge this transition here a little bit and really create some of that watercolor texture that we like so much. And so here, what you want to do is use a variety of pressure. Try pressing harder, but then also try taking some of that pressure off, especially if you want to blend it more. You want to take that pressure off, and then if you want to create more texture, that's when you add more pressure to your Apple pencil. Also, if you're not happy with that shape of your petal, this is a good time to adjust this as well and create exactly the shape that you like. And then this one here, I think this looks a little bit wonky, so we need to adjust this ever so slightly. Also, if you can't get this quite right, another option is to use the warp tool. Turn on the advanced mesh, and that gives you a little bit more control over that shape and how you can adjust this. So maybe we want to bring this in and adjust it ever so slightly. And now that gives it a bit more of a 3D effect. And I think it looks pretty good now. So now let's alpha lock that layer and let's paint in some different colors as well. Let's use some of the orange we have here. And now you can choose whether you want to carry on with the IPL Blossoms brush, or you could also use the soft air brush, of course. But I do like this brush, so I keep using it. And now because we've alpha locked the layer, you see the only parts that you can paint over is the parts that already have pixels, which means you're also going to keep the nice texture that we already have from that smudging that we did before. So this is super nice, and this really makes it much easier to get the effect that you'd like. So now we're going to release the alpha lock so that we can do some more smudging here. I feel that this is a bit too much, and I would also like this to blend a little bit nicer with the top of our floral, but not too much. Just ever so slightly. And then also here, there's a bit of a mistake, so I don't like this too much. So let's blend this and fix it. All right, so now we are going to create a new layer, and then we're going to create that center here using yellow, and then we are going to change to the Leaf Strokes brush. So now ever so slightly, we're going to paint in some little seeds here. And then on another new layer, we are going to change to black and paint some more. And this looks really cute. So now let's add in some highlights as well to our petals. So above the petals, add another layer and then choose one of your lighter pink colors, whichever one you prefer. Maybe this very light pink could be nice. And then with that blossoms brush, we're now going to add some highlights just to give the petals a bit more dimension. So maybe choose a slightly different color here as well. And then again, smudging this out. And you can see now, even though we are painting on a new layer, you can still smudge it out and it still blends in very nicely with the background. But then if you made a mistake or if you really don't like what you've done, you can always change it again. Like here, I think I've added a bit too much highlight. So now I'm going to remove some of it and then smudge it back. And now this looks really good. So now let's add some more petals here as well. And an easy way to do this is to duplicate this layer and then you can make it ever so slightly smaller and then rotate it. And now we have a second layer of petals just like that. And I want these to be in the background, so I'm moving them back. And let's also ever so slightly adjust these petals. Now let's also define the edges a little bit more. So you already know what to do. Of course, we're going to add a new layer and we're going to set that blend mode to overlay, and then with black and that soft airbrush we can redefine these edges a little bit more, and this really adds dimensions to your painting. So this is a lot of fun to paint this in and it really makes your florals pop. So this is quite dark here, but what we're going to do now is smudge it out, blend it a little bit more. And now we're going to paint some leaves as well. So let's create another new layer and then change that color to any of the grains that you would like to use. And now let's use the leaf strokes brush. And this is a very fun brush. And the way that this brush works is that it's very pressure sensitive. So you start with very light pressure and then when the leaf starts, you put more pressure on and then you take the pressure off again. So this requires a little bit of practice. You can see I don't always get it right. So sometimes I do a bit of a warm up and I just paint some random leaves like this. And you might also find that maybe doing it the other way around might work better for you. And then once you've practiced this for a little while, we can now paint a stem and then also some leaves. I'm not sure if this flower actually has these types of leaves, but I think these are very fun to paint. So let's just pretend these are the right ones. And so now we can paint the stem. You can start here from the middle. We can erase this, maybe just like this. And then we'll create some leaves as well. And of course you can create as many as you like. So now what we can do, we can erase the stem here. You could use a layer mask again like we've done before if you're not sure whether or not you want to erase this. This is completely up to you. You could erase this here if you wanted to, but let's just use the mask so we get used to using the mask. And then you can see with that leaves brush that it sometimes creates these highlights, but not always. So it's a little bit hit and miss. So if you would like to increase this a little bit, let's change it to a different color and let's paint this in ever so slightly. This is quite nice. And then we also want to change that color ever so slightly. So let's alpha lock that layer. And then let's go to the soft airbrush so we can add some slightly different colors here as well. Maybe some brighter green as well. This is very bright, but let's see. This looks nice. And then of course we can do our overlay trick again here. I'm going to add the overlay and then black, and so we can add some more shadows, and this really makes a big difference. Painting in these shadows really makes your floral paintings pop, so I definitely recommend that you experiment with this. And here we go, this is our floral painting all from scratch, and yes, I know this will require a little bit of practice, especially until you get the hang of the brushes that we are using here, but this is so much fun. I really hope you enjoy this, and there's only one more day left, and tomorrow we are going to put everything together and we're going to create a bouquet. So I very much recommend you practice this today, and then I will see you all in the next video.